inside my heart I feel it would shout like a crowd dancing. I guess I can live without things that made my life what it is.
Hey, Josh here, and this is my review of City of Ashes, Cassandra Clare's sequel from the middle part of the trilogy to the Mortal Instruments, and her sequel to the City of Bones, which I have also reviewed on my channel. So I will not bother recapping the story. It'll just waste time. So to start off, the plot continues almost directly after City of Bones, with only a few days in between, and really gets going the moment it starts. This is a really thrilling book. It delves a lot more into the relationship aspect, admittedly, but at the same time, this book almost comes to a conclusion to it, which I was very surprised at, and it's not really a spoiler because, trust me, nothing can be, there is far too many twists in this to even spoil in the length of a 10-minute video. This is a story that really thrives on its plot twists, and not in a cheap way. They really all do tie into each other. They make sense. All of it leads back, and I have read the third book already, so I can fully say that even in retrospect, thinking about this book, it is very impressive. That small plot details from this one that I at first may have thought didn't really work out actually played to the whole of the series. In the same way, I think that City of Ashes almost rectifies certain bits of City of Bones. If you'll remember my last review, I did mention that I thought the twist at the end of City of Bones seemed rather odd, considering the nature of this story, but City of Ashes makes a lot with it and really gets some tense situations. The action is turned way up this time, the creepiness and horror is turned a lot up, and the romance is turned up. Basically, this is just an amped up version, and definitely gets the job done, explores more into the Shadowhunters world, definitely more into the Downworlders, and it really captured my imagination, I gotta say. It may not be the best book, but it is damn well entertaining, I'll say that much. I could not stop reading it. So, the characters themselves, like I said, all really, as with City of Bones, all really get their dues, and all manage to play a significant role within the novel. Particularly, Simon comes into his own in this story, and really gets full plot arc, and intertwines perfectly with Clary's. Jace treads some of the same ground, but at the same time works towards advancing the others. It is still touched upon, though, and like I said, the shadow, or the clave actually comes a lot more into this novel than did the previous one, which I appreciated because it's really neat. It works towards Cassandra Clare's world building that I talked about before, and even more so than in City of Bones, City of Ashes definitely creates its own original fantasy world. Even though it takes derivative elements, it creates even more monsters, even more situations, and a lot of surprising twists that you would not expect from these elements, and meshes them all together to create a really nice story, really exciting. Some people may not like it due to the heavy emphasis on romance, but at the same time, there is some bloody, gory action. There is definitely a lot of creepiness, and it's still quite a bit of fun. It's still, well, I should rephrase that. It is even funnier than City of Bones, though it is less fun, if that makes sense. It's not as adventurous, but at the same time, it retains all of the jokiness of City of Bones. So there's definitely a lot of alleviation of drama, and it really, like I said, it really all works and meshes together, and I wouldn't have thought that I could enjoy something I just randomly picked up this much, but this really comes with one of my highest recommendations. The writing in it is about the same as City of Bones, perhaps a little better. I found the structure of this novel definitely more satisfying. It had a clear beginning, middle, end, and even though the end does end with a cliffhanger, because it sets up for the final installment in the book trilogy, that's acceptable because, really, this is the middle of a series, and I really appreciate a story, or a series that can actually leave you hanging like that. Every chapter left you hanging, but I can appreciate a story that leaves you hanging like that. Too many movies and series feel the need to just wrap up and encapsulate everything by the end of each movie and build on the broad general themes of the previous book throughout the series, but no, this one really comes into its own, has its own entirely different themes. I really appreciated it, and this is a fantastic book. I don't really say about that. I realize I'm gushing quite a bit, but I really enjoyed this, and just before anyone might ask, You do need to read City of Bones before this. This is a well-written series, and that, like I said, everything connects and works towards the whole. Small details within the first one, character introductions are barely made. The book does, oddly enough, try and recap some things at times, which is somewhat distracting considering the fact that it only recaps small things and the broad things are left completely unexplained, so you would have had to have read them to understand it. But regardless, like I said, this is a really great book. If you're looking for a fun fantasy read, definitely pick up this series. Start with City of Bones, but City of Ashes is definitely worth reading.